Test 1, 2. There we go. We are live at the Namoli Family Stadium. Welcome to a doubleheader between the Tampa Spartans and Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. It's a beautiful day for softball here. I'm Taylor Storthy alongside Bruce Wozniak. And entering the game, it's been a tale of two seasons for both teams. The Spartans have started off strong, but sometimes in the race of a full season, a team might skid and slide off the road. And for the Spartans, that's what's happened. They're on a 4-game losing streak with a run differential of -4 in total for those games, which means they've lost every single one by one agonizing run. It's been the different story, however, for Minnesota Duluth, who are 13-2 to enter the season.
Yeah, and the Spartans come in, as you mentioned, on a 4-game losing streak that has put them at 11-8. So you kind of look at that and you say, that means they started 11-4 prior to that slide, and what that record could have been. And you kind of throw coulda, shoulda, woulda out the window every time you step on the field. Looking at today's starting pitchers, the Spartans in Game 1 going with Mariah Galhouse in the circle as you see her getting set to throw the game's first pitch, which is strike one. Galhouse on the season, 7 games started. She has a 4-5 1-loss record, 2 saves, 6 complete games, and through 54 innings pitched, an impressive 1.56 ERA, and equally impressive 31 strikeouts and only 7 walks.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the cases where you look at a pitcher and say a 4-5 record isn't amazing, but then you take a look. It's a sub-2 ERA, a great K to walk ratio. And speaking of strikeouts, Galhouse already gets one from the circle with a great start right here.
And that's a great way for her to start off this afternoon. And for the Spartans, if they're going to try to snap this 4-game losing streak, a great place to do it is at home, although some would say a great place to do it is the road, where you can get away from the pressure of being at home. But it's a beautiful afternoon, 85 degrees, and Spartans are just going to have to build on this one pitch at a time, one inning at a time. I don't like to use all the cliches, but when you're trying to sort these things out, Taylor, as you mentioned, things like coming out on the wrong side of a one-run game or all the runners they've been leaving on base, you can't overthink it, otherwise you get deeper into that hole, and a 4-game losing streak all of a sudden swells to even more than that.
Tampa will have 2 chances to try to correct that slide today, but it will be tough, as that pitch will be taken outside. The count goes to 1-2. But already a great start from Galhouse.
This, by the way, is Emma Frost, who is a third base player for the Bulldogs. The leadoff hitter, Bender, was retired on a strikeout.
And the 2-2 from Galhouse, that one is going to be popped up. Ballmer recovers it at short to retire the second batter of the inning.
So that'll bring up Jordan Thomas, the first base player. This is the second of 4 straight doubleheaders for UT. We had the first of those this past Saturday, and after today they'll host a doubleheader here on Thursday as well as on Saturday. So a lot of softball to be played, and this is where you can really make a difference in that 1-loss record and make that 4-game losing streak be a distant memory.
And that will be the goal, Bruce. If Tampa is able to start to generate some momentum, those wins can turn into a big winning streak and propel them up the Sunshine State Conference standings. Now here's the 1-1 to Thomas. Thomas fouls it away. So now a 1-2 count. Galhouse can have a 1-2-3 inning to open up from the circle. The 1-2, and that will be fouled away. Good job to stay alive by Thomas.
The home plate umpire for this first game is Scott Johnson, and Steve Lewis is currently over at first base covering the infield.
The 1-2, and that's going to be a simple pop fly and a good run by Jansen to track it down. It's 1-2-3 for Minnesota Duluth, and the Spartans will now get up to bat for the bottom of the first. We are back for the bottom of the first. The Spartans were able to make quick work of the Bulldogs early. And now Mariah Gallhouse will step up as the leadoff for the Spartans. But for Gallhouse, she's going to have some tough competition, Bruce.
Yeah, her opponent in the circle this afternoon, the starting pitcher for Minnesota Duluth, is lefty Lauren Dixon. And she boasts not only a 5-0 one-loss record, but in 38 innings pitched this season, she has struck out 51 batters, and a very impressive start so far to 2022 for Dixon, as Gallhouse leads things off for UT here in the bottom of the first.
So we'll have to take a look for a lot of stuff from Dixon with that strikeout rate. First pitch taken there for ball one.
And Dixon with an impressive 1.11 ERA.
Gallhouse will fly out to right to open up the second. A good job on the play by Bursley to track it down. So Steph Ballmer now steps up for the Spartans. Ballmer has been in a little bit of a hitting slump. Hopefully with the lefty matchup, could be able to help Ballmer break out of it. The first pitch will be taken for strike one.
Yeah, Seth Ballmer, you're right. 19 games played this season and struggling at the plate, hitting just 158. She struck out 9 times, which is the second most on the team.
Ballmer's going to ground it to short. Fielded well. The throw to first. Good grab. So Thomas, the first base player, able to make a good grab to make sure the throw doesn't get too far away. An interesting note about Thomas, 5'11", the second tallest player for the Duluth Bulldogs. The tallest being Sydney Zavaral, who is in the catcher spot.
Yeah, and we're seeing Lauren Fantone hitting third here for UT, and we've seen her lead off primarily lately, and so a slight adjustment to the batting order for head coach Leslie Cantor, at least as it relates to game one for the Spartans.
The 0-1 here to Fantone, 2 away. That one's going to be taken high, the riser, just out of the zone. Fantone has had a strong start to the season, not just at the plate, but in the field, making some good plays in left. And also another good eye, as we can see, drawing a second ball.
Yeah, Fantone is hitting 254 so far this season and waits here for the next pitch.
That'll be fouled away, so the count will go to 2-2. So we could have 2 1-2-3 innings right here. Top half and bottom half, as Dixon's trying to retire Fantone from the circle with the 2-2. Fantone's going to get under that one. And it's a good catch to retire the side. No one can get on base in the first inning. Both sides go down in order. So we will be right back at the top of the second inning as the Bulldogs tried to break the game open.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can. And then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for.
So we are back, top of the second. The Bulldogs at the plate. Spartans in the circle and on defense. So Sydney Zavaral is going to be here. Grounds it over to Ballmer. Makes a great grab and throw to first. Good range from Ballmer to retire Sydney Zavarral, who is the tallest player for either team.
So we'll see Kelly Swank next, who is the designated player in the Minnesota Duluth lineup, as I said before, at least for game one of this doubleheader. As you see her swing and miss on the first pitch, and so far in 2022, she's got a .222 batting average, has walked 3 times.
So she'll be hoping to improve that average here, as that one's going to be taken outside for ball 1. Entering the at-bat, Gallhouse only 14 innings to retire the first 4 batters, so good start from the circle. Here's the 1-1. That one's going to be fouled away for strike 2.
Funny thing about Swank is she had to go a long way to play right in her backyard. She's actually just from 30 minutes away from here in Valrico, but obviously is a student athlete way up in Minnesota Duluth, and now here she is right back in West Central Florida and playing on the opponent's team this afternoon against the home Tampa Spartans.
So the Florida native will foul that one off. And it's always good when you have a player that can have a homecoming game like this. Get a few fans in the crowd. It's a relatively quiet Tuesday on the right side of the stands, but on the left side we do see quite a few fans. The count falls now to 2-2. And that's going to be grounded to third. Kern Miner makes the throw in time to retire the second out of the inning.
And for everyone who can't be here because you're watching our broadcast at your desk at work, maybe sneaking the tablet or the phone underneath the desk, we do appreciate you watching as the Spartans playing a scheduled doubleheader today against the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. And for those of you watching from a Bulldogs perspective, thank you as well. Your team off to a tremendous start here in 2022 and trying to keep the winning ways going. 13-2 entering today's game against a hungry Spartans team that's lost 4 in a row, and would love to be the ones to change that to 13-3.
And that's a good off speed that is able to fool Burkhart. And now Gallhouse goes ahead 0-2 in the count. A chance to once again go 1-2-3 in the second inning. And that one just a little bit high. Almost was able to get another off speed to land right in the zone. But that one will be taken for ball 1.
Kat Burkhart's having an impressive season, hitting .353. As you see her foul that one off. And 2 home runs, 6 RBI. And certainly Lynn Anderson, the head coach of the Bulldogs, has to be happy. Burkhart hitting out of the number 6 position this afternoon.
Burkhart calls for time, wanting to assess the situation just a little bit. We know the Spartans usually like a fast pace of play from the circle. Every single pitcher usually goes right back and forth. And that is going to foul off of Burkhart. It's hard to tell whether it was just off the bat or off of Burkhart herself, but either way, that's going to be a foul ball and another 1-2 coming right up.
Yeah, it looked like it might have grazed her foot. She's fine. Gallhouse is ready.
That will be fouled away again. So Burkhart doing a great job to stay alive, and I think it just hit into off the netting the batter on deck, who is Julia Gronalds. Here's the 1-2 to Burkhart. Taken just outside for ball 2. And I know Gallhouse will be a little disappointed. It's a little tougher to go from 4 pitches from the 0-2 to now a 2-2 count. Here's the 2-2. That one's going to be grounded. Ballmer picks it up. The throw is in time, and the side is retired. 1-2-3 once again for Gallhouse. Already showing some elite quality from the circle. And now we'll be right back with the Spartans at bat. Kern Miner will be on deck and ready to go.
I pledge.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate,
and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
We are back at the Namoli Family Stadium, bottom of the second. Curran Minor leading off for the Spartans. Dixon still in the circle, of course. Dixon had a 9-pitch first inning. No strikeouts, but retired each of the Spartan hitters, hoping to get out number 4 against Minor, who will take the first pitch for a strike.
Curran Minor is hitting .345 and 14 RBI, which leads the team. And you see her here hitting in her usual cleanup spot in the batting order.
There's Minor going to ground it up the middle. Throw from second. Not in time. And Minor will be able to get on base with a circle. You know what? I got confused because Minor not only is a great hitter, Minor's one of the best pitchers for the Spartans too, dominating from the circle, and will get the Spartans' first hit, which is a single. So now with a runner on, Lexi Chevalier is able to try to get some offense generated and see if she can bring Curran Minor home. The 0-0 here. Chevalier tries to drop a sacrifice bunt, but it'll foul just away.
Chevalier hitting .283 this season, and one of 4 Spartans that has a triple on her record so far in 2022.
Chevalier scoring up for another bunt. This time we'll be able to get it down. Chevalier can't beat the throw to first, but it does advance Curran Minor to second.
I'll tell you what though, good speed by Chevalier coming out of the batter's box, and if the defense had slept on that one just a little bit, there's a good chance she would have been safe. But you're right, she got the job done and advances Curran Minor to second. So UT now with the runner in scoring position with only 1 out here in the bottom of the second.
It brings up Alexa Russo. Russo could be considered more as a slugger, who capitalizes a little more when getting doubles and extra base hits, rather than getting more on base. But this is the type of situation you love to have a batter like Russo in. A runner on second and 1 out, and a chance to try to bring Curran Minor home. So the 0-1 right here. That's going to be taken low for ball 1.
Russo has played in all 19 of the Spartans games so far this season. She's hitting .241 and has 6 RBI, and awaits now the 1-1.
That one's going to be taken just high for ball 2. So Russo, good patience to get ahead in the count, hoping to capitalize here on the 2-1 from Dixon. That one's going to be grounded down the first base line, but stays just too foul. So Minor can't get further in that. 2-2 here for Russo. On deck is Emily Jansen. Taken high for ball 3. We now have a full count.
You know, they talk a lot about on-base percentage. Curran Minor, a .439 on-base percentage. But another way that you know that Curran Minor is someone you can count on to get on base is the fact that she scored 8 runs this season. So hoping to make that 9 here during this at-bat.
It's going to be grounded to short. Fielded well. The throw to first is going to go wild. And so both runners will advance. Minor will be stopped at third. So Russo gets the job done. And a not great throw there from Bender. We saw that earlier where Bender's throw on the initial hit didn't really get to first base cleanly. And this time, it accidentally nutmegs the first baseman. So that'll be an error, but it gets the job done as Russo will get to second on it. And now Emily Jansen will step up with runners at third and second and just one out.
Jansen hitting .224, and with 3 RBI this season, chance here to pad that total with 2 runners in scoring position for the Spartans very early on. We're only 1 1/3 in as the Spartans batting in the bottom of the second.
Jansen will foul that one off, and now is down 0-2 in the count. The Spartans haven't struggled that often to get runners in scoring positions, but in the more recent games, we've noticed how many times they've left runners on base. In that 3-game series they just had against Nova Southeastern, they left 24 runners on, only scoring a few runs in the entire series, and now it'll be 2 outs with strike 3 called on Emily Jansen.
Well, this certainly changes things a little bit and allows Minnesota Duluth pitcher Lauren Dixon to exhale a little bit, although we saw in the last series Lily Keister with some key pinch hitting, and I was talking about on-base percentage. She's someone that they were able to count on getting on base. And let's see if she can come through with a base hit here.
Keister takes strike 1, and Keister is the type of player you love in a situation, but has one little downside here, facing a lefty arm, and generally you like to have lefty pitchers going up against lefty batters. But if Keister can beat the platoon, she would be able to give the Spartans the lead. That one's taken outside for ball 1.
It's really key that they get at least one of these runs in just to break that slump that you were talking about of not being able to convert runners on base.
So that one will be fouled away. Keister will be hoping to try to break that slump, Bruce, with the next pitch. 1-2 with 2 outs. Dixon looking good even though there's 2 runners in a dangerous position. Doesn't seem too fazed by it in the circle. The 1-2. That one's going to be taken well outside for ball 2.
The number 9 hitter Avery Perkins waiting in the on-deck circle, optimistic that her teammate Lily Keister is going to reach base in some fashion.
So now the 2-2. That one's going to be taken low and almost gets by her, but Zavaral's able to get back onto it. If it was a wild pitch, it could have brought Kern Miner home. Now we've got a full count. The payoff pitch on the way to Keister. Keister grounds it to short. The throw to first. And out. So Keister can't beat the throw, and the Spartans strand 2 to end the second inning. 2 were able to get on, but 2 couldn't get off. We'll be right back on Tampa Spartans TV on the Sunshine State Conference Network.
What do you get when you take your favorite food and stuff it inside a pocket of homemade dough? Cooked perfectly until golden brown. It's a mouth-watering empanada from Mr. Empanada. No one makes a better empanada. Take Ted Webb's word for it.
Almost as good as my mom used to make.
Check out our website for a location near you, MrEmpanada.com.
It's not about any one thing. It's about how everything comes together, how it all connects. People, ideas, resources, community, everything. Quality of life services. That's what we do. Sodexo.
So we are back at the top of the third at the Namoli Family Stadium. The Spartans were able to get agonizingly close to scoring, but unfortunately for them, they came up short. Gallhouse back in the circle, trying to keep her solid game going. Retired the first 6 batters cleanly, and now will have to face Gronholz. First pitch will be taken for strike 1.
Yeah, that means that we're seeing the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, and with the exception of the leadoff hitter, it's an all-righty batting order for the Bulldogs in this first game of the doubleheader.
And that one's taken low for strike 2. It's that classic pitch we see from Gallhouse. It rises up and drops down into the zone. It's a good curveball. And that one taken just a bit high for ball 1. The 1-2 from Gallhouse. Taken for ball 2 once again.
Gronholtz hitting .231 this season. Has 1 homer, 8 RBI. And now here comes the 2-2 from Gallhouse to her and strikes her out.
That was a lot of break in that one, and it's able to fool Gronholtz into a swing and miss. So it's going to be another strikeout for Gallhouse from the circle, her second of the day. Now stepping up will be Nicole Schmidt, who is a freshman from Verona, Minnesota. That first one taken for ball 1.
Yeah, Schmidt is their second base player and hitting .235 this season.
The Bulldogs will be hoping that Schmidt can be the first runner aboard for them, and already he's able to get ahead 2-0 in the count. That's going to be taken inside for strike 1. Schmidt and Gallhouse are ready. Here's the 2-1. A swing and a miss. And now that'll give Gallhouse a chance to get the second out here.
Yeah, Schmidt unfortunately second on the Bulldogs with, yikes, 13 strikeouts.
That one's taken up high, brings the count full. And I know right here Schmidt won't want to have that number increased to 14. Gallhouse definitely will. The 3-2. That's going to be a pop right to EJ, who just hands it right back to Gallhouse, saying, here you go, I think you dropped this. That's a second out for the Bulldogs. Another great start here for Gallhouse. And now the number 9 hitter, McKenna Bursley, steps up, a junior from Greenbush, Minnesota.
She's hitting .226.
So that one will be taken for strike 1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And one more pitch away from another potential quick inning. Although entering the at-bat, Gallhouse has had 39 pitches. So here's the 0-2. Taken just outside for ball 1. A good eye there by Bursley to stay alive.
The tendency is to say maybe Mariah Gallhouse has somewhere to be this afternoon, but we know that she's got to be here for Game 2. It's a doubleheader today.
Unless they want to rest her for Lily Keister in Game 2, but I highly doubt that would happen. Unfortunately for Keister, I know that she probably wouldn't be too disappointed to say, hey, sure, I don't mind playing the extra game. After that second one was taken, it's now a 2-2 count with 2 out. And she went around, strike 3, and it's 1-2-3 once again for Gallhouse. So it's a quick top of the third. The Spartans will hope for a slightly longer bottom of the third. We'll be right back on the Tampa Spartans TV.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us and for college sports.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby. Inside the 30, touchdown. Michaela Burgess.
An incredible finish by Hall. The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org/opportunity.
So the bottom of the third is here. Leading off for the Spartans will be Avery Perkins.
Yeah, the 9, 1, and 2 hitters Here in the bottom of the third for the Spartans, Perkins, then back to Galhouse and Balmer.
Perkins will be hoping to generate a little more offense for the Spartans. They had 2 base runners last time, but couldn't bring him home.
Flashing a bunt there, Avery Perkins on the first pitch from Dixon. So the 1-0 coming from the lefty Dixon now.
And that one is going to be taken just inside. A little bit of cutting action to cut from outside to just inside. And by outside, I mean of the zone, because that was a pitch that was very inside. So here's the 1-1 to Perkins. Swing and a miss. So now down 1-2 in the count. Good stuff from the circle from Dixon, who's had a very solid game apart from the 1 hit allowed. The other base runner advanced on an error. So here's the 1-2 to Perkins. That's going to be grounded to short. Perkins is close, but can't beat the throw. After conceding the error in the second inning, Bender has done a better job of making a play there. And also had done so to retire the final batter in the second inning, and now does so to start the third inning. So Galhouse back up for her second at-bat. 0-1 so far after flying out to right.
Even though there's officially only 1 error on the board, the Bulldogs have juggled a couple of the balls hit to the infield this afternoon, so you always want to run them out and never assume that it's going to be a routine ground out, but I think it kind of gives you even more motivation to make sure you run as fast as you can, just in case they have the yips all afternoon.
That'll definitely be what Tampa hopes for. And so far, it isn't looking too bad in that part when it comes to semi-sloppy fielding. One thing that's for sure is the pitching has also been solid. Dixon not allowing a lot of good contact and not a lot of balls to the outfield. That one's going to drop very low for ball 2. Galhouse was one of the people who was able to get a good hit into the outfield earlier, but it was just a nice track down and right to prevent it from being a hit. Here's the 2-1 to Galhouse. Galhouse going to ground it to short. Fielded well. Can't beat the throw to first. So now 2 away in the bottom of the third.
I'll tell you what, that was a really good defensive play by the shortstop Kiana Bender, and I'll tell you why. That ball was going to bounce in such a way that had her timing not been what it was, it would have gone up over her shoulder and into the outfield. So don't overlook what she made look like a routine groundout because of her timing on that one.
So great to see Bender getting back into rhythm after a couple sloppy plays. We had seen a throw early on that on the hit that just kind of went past the first baseman, and then another one that directly was an error. But apart from that, Bender has made some great plays from short. So good recovery to not let any early issues affect her too much, avoiding the yips. Now here's the 0-1 to Balmer, who pulls back the bunt to take ball 1. And speaking again of Bender at short, Bender's seen a lot of action as Balmer had last retired with a ground out to short. The 1-1's going to be taken high and outside. Good job by Balmer to get ahead in the count, 2-1.
Yeah, Bender already with 4 assists in this game.
Here's the 2-1. Balmer's going to ground it up the middle, and the slump is gone. That'll be her first hit in quite a few, and we can see the arms raised, a celebratory sigh of relief. And now it brings up Lauren Fantone, who's also 0 for 1, having flown out to short the last time she was up.
Yeah, and good for Steph Balmer to get that monkey off her back. And we knew that it was going to be a matter of time before she broke through. And fortunately for the Spartans, here it is, keeping the bottom of the third alive.
So that one will just go a little bit high for ball 1. Fantone hoping that Balmer's success can generate for success of her own. She's ready for the 1-0. Balmer's going to ground it to second. Not handled well enough, so Balmer will be able to get to second safely with the headfirst slide. And that will be an error once again for the Bulldogs.
That's one of those mishandled balls that I talked about just a few minutes ago that, you know, maybe somebody infiltrated the Bulldogs equipment bags and infested the mitts, the gloves, with a case of the yips, because the Bulldogs will now have officially 2 errors on the board, plus another one that I remember that some might argue too hot to handle, but Spartans are the beneficiaries and playing right into UT's hand, what with the cleanup hitter Corinne Miner being at the plate now and runners on first and second.
So that'll be bad news for Dixon in the circle, because now she has to face the Spartans' strongest hitter with 2 on. Miner was able to get the first hit of the game for the Spartans, which was a nice little hit up the middle that was unplayable by either Bender or Schmidt. That move could probably load the bases, or if Balmer has the legs, bring in a run. Here's the 1-1. That one is going to be a pop fly, and a good run by Bender to retire the side. The Spartans strand 2 once again to finish out the 3rd inning. It is still 0-0. No one's been able to get any runs yet. We'll be right back at Tampa Spartans TV for the top of the 4th inning. They've been doing.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
Thank you for tuning in to Tampa Spartans TV on the Sunshine State Conference Network. And if you're going to do something, make sure you make it yours. That's the old NCAA motto. And the motto for both teams is to have fun and try to score. That's going to be what the Bulldogs try to do in the top of the 4th. They haven't been able to get a base runner yet. Bender, who's had some good plays at short, is going to be hoping to be the first. And it will, as that one will drop. Keister can't get to it in time.
And a tip of the cap to Morale Galhouse for having retired the first 9 batters of the game. And so UT probably wants to make it up to her here and see if they can turn a double play. But great start for Galhouse nonetheless. 3 strikeouts already on her record for this game.
And now up is Emma Frost, who takes strike 1.
I made the remark before that some of you might be at work watching this game on your computer, your tablet, your phone. If you are here in the Tampa area, don't forget this is a doubleheader. You get home in time and get yourself over here for Game 2. The Spartans and the Bulldogs. Beautiful, beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Our temperature hovering around the mid-80s. As you see, the field is completely covered with sunshine.
It's a beautiful warm day. You see these a lot in Florida. And now the 1-1 will be ready to go. That's going to be grounded to third. Takes the free out at second. Can't get it at first, but we'll get 1 out. So it was a good play by Miner to get it to Russo. And Russo got the throw back to first very quickly, but that was just a little bit slower to get to second, so it probably wasn't going to get to first no matter what. But they're able to retire 1 on the fielder's choice. Now with 1 out, there's still 1 on. That'll bring up Jordan Thomas. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Fooled right there. Galhouse still showing great stuff from the circle.
And this is 5'8" pitching against 5'11".
That one's going to be taken high and away for ball 1.
You have to wonder if that plays with the mind of Galhouse a little bit as you saw that one go up high. And all of a sudden you change your perspective on the strike zone.
And that's going to be low and in the zone. Strike 2. And that's the classic changeup. Change-up curveball, kind of a mixture of both almost, maybe more of a circle change. That has very often fooled batters. That one's going to be driven deep to center. Keister on it. It makes the play. So that'll retire the second out. That had a lot of air, but just not enough ride to get close to the wall. So now there are 2 outs.
It's a good play out there by Lily Keister, essentially ending up in the territory of Lauren Fantone, what she normally would have caught, but Keister with a good burst of speed called for it, and Fantone, you certainly don't want to interrupt the momentum that Keister had going for that fly ball. And so as a result, we're back to the cleanup hitter now, as Minnesota Duluth hoping to do something with this first base runner, the game that they have.
That one's going to be taken for strike 1. And Bruce, you mentioned the height matchup last time. Well, this time we've got 5'8 versus 6'1. And we mentioned before that Tampa's generally had a height advantage with the tallest E.J. Jansen, but E.J.'s not the tallest here. Instead, it's Sydney Zavarral. Zavarral had grounded out last time to short. Here's the 2-1 from Gallhouse. This time it's going to be lined right to Minor, and the side is retired. Good reaction there from Minor. Not the hardest hit of balls, but that still can catch you off guard if you're not expecting it. So, 1 hit, 1 fielder's choice, but nothing doing from the Bulldogs. We'll enter the bottom of the 4th in just a second on Tampa Spartans TV.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
It's not about any one thing. It's about how everything comes together, how it all connects. People, ideas, resources, community, everything. Quality of life services. That's what we do. Sodexo.
So we are back at Namoli Family Stadium, bottom of the 4th. And so far, it's been a good game for both teams, but mainly in terms of pitching and defense. Tampa's been able to get 2 hits and get multiple base runners on, but have stranded 4. Meanwhile, in the last inning, we saw 1 get stranded from the Bulldogs as they were able to get their first hit of the game. Now, Lexi Chevalier hoping to generate some more offense from the Spartans, taking on Dixon once again from the circle. The last time Chevalier was up, she played a sacrifice to advance Kern Minor to second. Now's a chance to really have a true at-bat. Yo-oh. That's going to be taken for strike 1.
Lauren Dixon, prior to that pitch, her pitch count was at 45, which meant that she's averaging 15 pitches per inning. Has her team in a scoreless tie here.
And ooh, swing and a miss. A big whiff on that one. As we mentioned, a lot of strikeouts for Dixon, so possessing quite a bit of stuff there. And what will be pitch 48, Dixon will be hoping to retire the first batter of the bottom of the 4th. That one's going to be taken high and outside the zone, because it's very much inside, for ball 1. We can tell that Dixon from the circle wearing a pitcher's mask. That could be found to be helpful sometimes. That one's taken for ball 2, because earlier in the season we saw Beth Feldman get hit with a shot straight to the mask, and that's definitely what saved her from any serious injury. She had to be relieved for the rest of the game, though. But still, hopefully, it's a good thing that they've got those masks. Grounder to short, and the easy play to first. And there's now 1 away for Alexa Russo. So Alexa Russo last time was also able to get on base, but it was off an error from Bender, who's been perfect since that error had happened. Russo will be hoping to get back on base again, whether it's by error, hit, or something larger than just a single base hit. That will be taken for ball 1. The 1-0 to Russo. That one is taken for strike 1.
I mentioned before about the Bulldogs batting order in terms of lefties and righties, and the Spartans have a nice little mix. Obviously Russo a righty, but UT has 3 lefty bats here, which Lauren Dixon has to contend with. And right now battling 1 and 2 with Alexa Russo.
That one's going to be taken outside for ball 2. So Russo hoping to stay alive here, the 2-2 right here. Strike 3, it's another strikeout for Dixon, who's also been on fire from the circle to open up. And now Emily Jansen steps up.
One of the reasons that Lauren Dixon is a little more timely with her pitches, just like the UT staff, is a lot of the opponents that we've seen in here recently, their pitchers all have the wristband, and there's the first pitch batted, and it's going to be a ground out for out number 3. Just to finish up on that, we see a lot of the visiting pitchers that look to their dugout, look at their wristband, look for the signal from the catcher, and it takes a lot of extra time. So that's one of the reasons why this one's moving along as it is.
Indeed, Galthouse and Dixon both very fast pace of play, and it also retires the 4th inning relatively quickly off that ground out. We'll be right back in Tampa Spartans TV for the top of the 5th.
What do you get when you take your favorite food and stuff it inside a pocket of homemade dough? Cooked perfectly until golden brown. It's a mouth-watering empanada from Mr. Empanada. No one makes a better empanada. Take Ted Webb's word for it.
Almost as good as my mom used to make.
Check out our website for a location near you, MrEmpanada.com.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby. Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Burgess.
An incredible finish by Hall. The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly half.
The top of the 5th, we are still underway in Game 1 of the doubleheader at the Namoli Family Stadium. Still no runs scored, 0-0 apiece, and so far only 3 hits allowed by both pitchers. Galthouse having a great game from the circle, only 1 hit allowed, 3 strikeouts in just 55 pitches in 4 innings.
3 hits apiece, meaning a combined total of 3. The Spartans have 2 hits, and the Bulldogs have just the 1 in what's been a very fast-moving game.
That one's going to be taken for strike 1. That had a lot of heat. And up again, of course, is Kelly Swank, who's a designated player. Strike 2. That's a swing and a miss.
I say that about a fast-moving game because if you just joined us and you wonder, how could it be the top of the 5th? I thought this game started at 3. It is the top of the 5th. It did start at 3. It's been a lot of defensive battling until that there, as finally the Bulldogs get their 2nd hit of the game.
So both hits for the Bulldogs have been those plays just up the middle. Nicely hit grounder. And now, with a runner on first and no outs, the Bulldogs have a little more chance to try to generate some offense.
The number 6 hitter, Kat Burkhart, who grounded out in her first at-bat.
E.J. Jansen ready to move up for the bunt. Galthouse with the play to first. Good job to Russo to cover it. And the sacrifice works as it does advance Swank, but it also gets the first out of the inning.
Yeah, and you have to compliment these hitters with the placement of these bunts such that there's no opportunity for a double play.
So here's the 0-0 to Garonholes. That's going to be grounded to short. Balmer, play back to second, and it's going to be safe. So Swank just had a big lead off the second, and Ballmer thought that she could get the lead runner out, but no, she slides back safe, and now it brings up a second runner with one out.
And I really expected to see Leslie Cantor come out of the Tampa dugout to challenge that one. I don't know that it was as safe as the infield umpire Steve Lewis was so quick with his call. That looked out to me.
That's going to be grounded up the middle. Keister to throw home in time. What a play by Keister in the outfield. So that will be a hit, but it does prevent a run.
Great job by Lily Keister. Wow. Tremendous arm and right on target. And Lexi Chevalier, all she had to do was apply the tag. She knew the timing was going to be there. And that's a huge shot in the arm for the Spartans, and almost a little bit of justice, as I'm going to stand by my opinion that should have been an out call at second base, and so they get her one way or the other, meaning the play at the plate.
So a lot of action right in a row after that very close call at second, and I'm a little bit inclined to agree with you. I think that Ballmer did get that throw in time, but certainly that throw was in time that time around at home with a great arm from Keister. We've seen Keister make some good plays in the outfield. Unfortunately, not all of them have worked in time. This time, however, it does and keeps the game level. 2 outs here, the 1-0 count. That's going to be grounded to Kern Minor. A really fast throw to third, as there was a good job on Schmidt to almost beat it out on the base path, but that'll retire the side. The lone potential runner was tagged out at home. The Bulldogs strand a few, and the Spartans will be ready to go. Lily Keister will lead off. We'll be right back.
I pledge.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
Number 3, Lily Keister.
So Keister will lead off for the top of the fifth, bottom of the fifth. And Keister, just in the top of the fifth, had one that, might as well just put on the highlight reel. An absolute laser from center field to reach Chevalier in time for the tag out to keep the game level. And Keister will be hoping to be the first runner for the Spartans to go all the way home if she can get on base. But of course, Dixon, who's had 56 pitches entering the at-bat from the circle, won't want to let that happen. 1-0 count now to Keister with that one taken outside. That one is also going to be taken just a little bit high for ball 2.
It's almost fitting that she gets to lead off this half inning after that great defensive play that she made in the top of the fifth.
Here's the 2-0. Keister tries to drop one down, and that'll be actually ruled as ball 3. So 3-0, and Keister could actually get on with a walk here, depending on how the 3-0 pitch goes. That one's taken for strike 1.
Yeah, Scott Johnson, the home plate umpire, when he calls a strike, we have the windows closed here in the press box and the door, and I can actually hear him call strike all the way up here.
That one's going to be grounded back to Dixon. The throw to first in time. And that'll be out number 1. So good job to fight back from the circle and force the weak grounder in what is a very dangerous count. Perkins now is up with 1 away. Last time Perkins was at the plate, she grounded out to short. Up next, of course, will be Gallhouse. I know Gallhouse would love to try to capitalize with a runner on. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Still 1 out, bottom of the 5th. The 0-1. That's going to be taken outside for strike 2. Just on the outside corner, is able to stay in the zone. Again, we have a little bit of a slanted view from the booth, so those pitches can sometimes read for us as a little bit outside. But here's now the 0-2 to Perkins. That one's going to be taken very high. And a good job by Zavarol to not let it get away. The 1-2 now for Perkins. Trying to fight back. Perkins is going to get under that, but just way too much under it, as that'll be the second out of the inning.
You know, getting back to that pitch that sailed up high, don't overlook the value of Sydney Zavarol being 6'1" behind the plate. She's got a longer reach, and if she jumps up quick enough, some balls that might get away from shorter catchers, she's going to be able to control those.
And also being taller gives her a little bit of extra room and height to be able to watch for any wild pitches or block any pitches that stay a little bit lower. Here's the 0-0. That'll be taken just outside for ball 1. Gallhouse once again able to get ahead, although Gallhouse is 0 of 2 so far, flying out to right and grounding out to short in her first 2 at-bats. Here's the 1-0. That's going to be taken low. Ball 2. Here's the 2-0 to Gallhouse. That's going to be taken again, low for ball 3. So 2 Tampa batters have been able to get 3-0 leads in counts this inning. But both times, or the first time from the circle, Dixon was able to fight back. Can't you do the same against Gallhouse? That one's going to be taken high for ball 4, and Gallhouse gets on base.
Yeah, that's her second walk of the season. Entering today's game, she had an on-base percentage of .359, and Mariah Gallhouse has sort of turned into one of those old reliable players that a lot of people get that nickname, and she's quickly earning that.
And yeah, only the second walk of the season. Gallhouse isn't the type of player to always take walks and get on base, but when it's basically given to you for free in 4 pitches, you might as well take it. And now the 0-1 taken there by Stephanie Ballmer, who finally broke the hitting slump and got on base with a hit last time out. That's going to be fouled back for strike 2.
Ballmer here behind 0-2 with 2 out, and the Spartans, again, that leaving players on base problem that they're having, really try to move up the runner if they can.
That one's going to be taken just outside for ball 1.
And at least to get Gallhouse up 1 base so they can get someone in scoring position as they start to get into the heart of the order with Fantone and Minor behind Ballmer.
So here's the 1-2 from Ballmer. Ballmer will pop that backward. So we'll go again with the 1-2. Ballmer has benefited with the pitching matchup, having to face a lefty here. And so here's the 1-2. And strike 3. Ballmer is retired looking. The side is retired. 1 walk allowed, but that's it. It is still very quiet. And entering the top of the 6th, we have another 0-0 ball game. We'll be right back on Sunshine State Conference TV on the Tampa Spartans Network.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents.
Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
Gallhouse is going my way, and I think she's ready to pitch from the circle all game long. You might have heard a little bit of Life is a Highway over the PA just in a second, but either way, we are right back. Top of the 6th underway. Gallhouse only 60 pitches in 5 innings, despite allowing quite a few base runners last time out. So, the 1-0 taken to start out top of the 6th. It's back to the top of the order for Kiana Bender. Swing and a miss for Bender, now down 1-1 in the count.
Bender started off the game striking out looking in the first, and then got a single in the 4th inning, one of the 3 hits that the Bulldogs have put up in the game.
And that one's another swing and a miss in the dirt. So now 1-2 for Bender. Gallhouse looking for another quick start in the circle to get the first out away. The 1-2. And went around. Strike 3. That is strikeout number 4 for Gallhouse today.
That'll bring up Emma Frost. She's 0 for 2 so far in this game. The Bulldogs' third base player.
Now here's the 0-0. Going to be grounded over to Minor at third. Just foul, so no chance to get her out on that first pitch. And we've seen Minor have a good game as a third base player so far. Can do it all. From pitching in the circle, hitting in the box, and playing in the field. And that one's going to go for strike 2. It's the classic breaker from Gallhouse. Seems to fool everyone.
Emma Frost entered today with an impressive .429 on base percentage. Trying to stay alive here in the top of the 6th.
Gallhouse was able to get on base earlier off a fielder's choice, but still has yet to find a hit, and will hope to get on base or get a hit. Strike 2 taken, strike 3 for the second out. And it's the second strikeout here of the inning for Gallhouse, and the 5th of the game. And now up is going to be Jordan Thomas. Thomas hoping to generate some more offense here. Also 0 of 2 as that one's taken for ball 1. The 1-0. Thomas grounds it up the middle. And that will be a hit for the Bulldogs. So with 2 outs, they get a runner on. And that will bring up Sydney Zavarral.
Zavarral, the Bulldogs catcher, and you saw someone from the Minnesota Duluth staff going out and picking up the gear, and you have to wonder if Zavarral was late getting out there, getting the pads off, as you see her getting a few words from head coach Lynn Anderson before she steps into the batter's box. 2 outs here in the top of the 6th, and a runner on first base for Minnesota Duluth.
Notably, though, that runner isn't Thomas. Instead, it's going to be Cora Meyer is now on first as a pinch runner. And they're actually going to replace the pinch runner. I think Thomas is going to be back on first with 2 outs. So, yeah, a little bit interesting. We saw Meyer go as a pinch runner, and then they undid it. That one's going to be fouled away. 0-1. Zavarral so far lined out to Minor and also grounded out to Balmer earlier in the game. Here's the 0-1. It's going to be grounded to Balmer. Takes the easy out at second, and the side is retired. Top of the 6th is done. 1 runner is left stranded, and now the Spartans get ready for the bottom of the 6th.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
What do you get when you take your favorite food and stuff it inside a pocket of homemade dough? Cooked perfectly until golden brown. It's a mouth-watering empanada from Mr. Empanada. No one makes a better empanada. Take Ted Webb's word for it.
Almost as good as my mom used to make.
Check out our website for a location near you, MrEmpanada.com.
This is going to be it.
So we are back, bottom of the 6th, and it has been a quiet game so far. A 0-0 tie entering bottom of the 6th.
Spartans have the 3, 4, and 5 hitters scheduled to bat here in the bottom of the 6th, so if ever there's a time for them to try to open things up here offensively, conventional wisdom would say this is where you're going to get it from. Fantone, however, combined with Minor and Chevalier, combined 1 for 5 today. And then there are those that would argue that that means that someone out of the 3 of them is due.
That's what Tampa will be hoping for at least one of them to get on base. Strike 1 taken right here. And it's really been a great pitcher's duel. 74 pitches entering this at bat for Dixon. Doing a great job from the circle with only 2 hits and 1 walk allowed. A few other runners have reached on fielders' choices and errors. The 0-2 here to Fantone, who's already down. Fantone hoping to not go down immediately. That's going to be grounded right back to Dixon. Makes a good play to stop it with the glove and get the throw to first.
You know, Corinne Minor has 3 home runs this season. They came in back-to-back-to-back games. And if she's going to get back on track with the long ball, is no better time than the present, although as we've talked about before, this isn't really a home run friendly stadium. And the Spartans need something here explosive.
And that one is going to be a nice blooper that drops in the outfield, and Minor will get on. Maybe that is the tiny spark that caused an explosion from Lexi Chevalier, who comes up here with 1 out.
Yeah, they'll certainly take it any way they can get it, but I think the Spartans would have loved to have seen an extra base hit from Corinne Minor and get somebody in scoring position right away. And now Chevalier, just 1 out and 1 runner on. So the door just slightly ajar for the Spartans now here in the bottom of the 6th.
So here's the 0-0 to Chevalier. That is going to be taken low for ball 1.
Corinne Minor now 2 for 3 on the day.
Chevalier 0 of 1 after having a sacrifice early on. Wonder if they'll play a sacrifice with 1 out. Unlikely though in this situation. Chevalier fouls it away. Count goes to 1-1. It's a good spot, though, if you're the Spartans. With 1 out, you know that Russo will most likely get a chance. Up next, barring a double play. So here's the 1-1 to Chevalier. Chevalier will get the bunt down, but it will roll foul. So now it'll be 1-2. Minor still on first.
With that hit by Corinne Minor, the gap is closed in terms of the hit department. The Bulldogs have 4 so far in this game. The Spartans have 3. And let's not overlook the fact that the Bulldogs have cleaned things up defensively. They had committed 2 errors early on in this game.
And strike 3, Chevalier goes down swinging. And now it's going to be 2 outs with Russo up. And exactly that, Bruce. They've cleaned up the defensive errors that they've had. They've got rid of the yips, as you might say. But Tampa's runners on base yips have not gone away. They are only 0 of 6 with runners on and 0 of 4 with them in scoring position. That last strikeout made it 0 of 7. Russo hoping to not be 0 of 8 as that one's fouled well away. 82 pitches entering this at bat for Dixon. Jansen will be hoping to get a chance on deck, but that might not come depending on what happens here. The 0-1 now to Russo. Russo's going to ground that up the middle. Not in time by the second baseman, so Jansen will get a chance here. It's a good single for Russo and keeps the inning alive.
It's interesting. Both teams have 4 hits apiece, and there have been no extra base hits yet in this game, so as much as I called for some explosive offense before, it really should, for all intents and purposes, just take another single at this point to get Corinne Minor home, but we've seen otherwise in this park.
That was going to be taken low for ball 1. Keister up next as well. The lefty-on-lefty matchup will benefit Dixon for Keister, but that being said, do you want to risk it with the bases loaded? Here's the 1-0 again to Jansen. Jansen fouls it away. Count will go to 1-1. And yeah, Bruce, we saw Keister, who's on deck, made that throw from center field to prevent the early run when runners were on first and second.
And of course, that's also going to come down to how fast the runners are on base. In this case, Corinne Minor versus the Bulldogs runner at that point, the play you talked about.
And that's a pop out to second, and you can add to the tally. 7 have been total stranded all game, as the 2 were added just here. We're entering the top of the 7th, still 0-0. The Spartans can't win it here, but we'll have to see them go in the bottom of the order. But first, they have to retire the Bulldogs in the top of the order. We'll be right back.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven.
So we are back, and let me give you a recap of the 6th innings. Great pitching, a few errors, followed by great fielding, and more great pitching. No runs have been scored. There have been a total of 8 hits, and other runners have been able to advance on errors, walks, and even fielders' choices. And it all comes to a close in the 7th inning. Top of the order will be due up if they can go around to it. But for now, it's the 5, 6, and 7 hitters. Make it the 6 and 7, although that one is a foul ball. And leading off for the Bulldogs will be Swank, who is 1 of 2.
Swank, the designated player, looking over at head coach Lynn Anderson for some final instruction here in the 0-1.
And that one is taken for strike 2 down the middle. Homecoming game for Swank, originally from Valrico. That's going to be grounded to Minor, but will roll foul. So we go again at the 0-2 count. So just look at Galthouse from the circle. Already having a great season, but also having a great night. 5 strikeouts with 4 hits allowed, and 70 pitches entering the at-bat. That number will be a little bit higher once the at-bat is finished. That one's going to be flown deep to right, and that's finally going to get to the wall. The first extra base hit, rounding and heading to third. The throw picked up by Minor, so it's going to be a 0-out triple. And that potentially puts a go-ahead run in a very dangerous spot with no outs.
Well, and as much as I don't want to take away from that ball and her ending up at third base, what a tremendous throw all the way from right field by Avery Perkins. And if that had been on line with Corinne Miner, we could have had an out at third base. A terrific, terrific throw coming all the way in from right field, but just barely missed the target. And so the Bulldogs put a runner on third to start this top of the 7th inning.
Swank will be pitch ran for. And you can see Swank was a little disappointed, like, oh man, I was hoping I could get a chance to go home. But nope, they're going to play the strategy, and I don't blame them. With 0 outs, they want to get that go-ahead run home, as that is going to be Caitlin Schultz, who is now on third. The 0-1 taken inside for ball 1. So Burkhart could be a hero for the Bulldogs here with a runner on third and no outs. Takes ball 1 here from Gallhouse. The infield playing in. That one is going to be popped out to Russo. And so that will finally put an out in the inning. And now it's going to be Gronholz tasked with trying to bring the runner home.
Mariah Gallhouse couldn't have drawn that one up much better, as no opportunity for the runner to budge from third base.
So here's the 0-0, taken low for ball 1. And now if you're Gallhouse, you don't want any outfield ball. You don't even want a really well-hit ground ball that could try to bring the runner home. You want a strikeout or what you just had, which was a nice pop out into the infield. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss, so 1-1 in the count. And if you're Gronholz, you just need a little bit of a ride on that ball to get it somewhere where you can advance Schultz home.
You have to wonder if Gronholz sees the big swing that ended up at the right field fence and is tempted to try to do the same.
That's going to be grounded back to Gallhouse. Takes the easy out at first. Schultz a little indecisive there and stays at third. So 2 outs away. Gallhouse could get out of this tricky situation. It now comes down to Schmidt. Schmidt is 1 of 2 in the game, and any hit right here would absolutely give the Bulldogs the lead. So a battle from the circle to the box, but we're actually getting a pinch hitter.
Yeah, Nicole Schmidt heading back towards the dugout to have a seat. As you see the head coach Lynn Anderson talking with home plate umpire Scott Johnson. And so now we're going to see Elle Potts come in to hit for the Bulldogs instead.
The sophomore from St. Michael, Minnesota, of a chance to try to be a Bulldog hero and a place where legends are created. Top of the 7th, 2 outs and a runner on third. All you need is to get on base.
Potts
is a run.
Hitting 194 this season in 13 games played.
Potts is going to get it up. Fantone gets it. The side is retired. And after the leadoff triple, that runner is left out to dry. The Spartans will have a chance in the bottom of the 7th right here. The game is still tied 0-0.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
So, bottom of the 7th, the Spartans need 1 run, and to try to generate it, they're going to be pinch hitting Siegel. So Abby Siegel, we've already seen her have some good stints as a pinch hitter before, and they're hoping for more of that success right here.
Yeah, Siegel's hitting .294 with 5 RBI. She's played in 12 games this season, and a big opportunity for her here in the bottom of the 7th. Score tied at 0.
So that one's going to be taken down low for ball 1. Four hits for the Spartans in total. Siegel would love to be hit number 5. Here's the 1-0. That one's going to be taken. A little breaking action to get inside the zone for strike 1. So now the 1-1 for Siegel. That's going to be grounded away foul. It's now 1-2.
Avery Perkins on deck for the Spartans, and then we'll go to the top of the order, Mariah Galhouse. Spartans just need 1 run.
But that 1 run can be hard to get. Here's the 1-2 now to Siegel. Siegel fouls it away to stay alive. Dixon's had a great game from the circle too. Entering the at-bat, which is gone for a little while. She had 87 pitches, 4 strikeouts, along with 4 hits and a walk. A few runners also got on via error, but no runs have been conceded. So from the circle, the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Siegel goes down with a strikeout, and that's going to be number 5 of the game for Dixon. And now Avery Perkins is going to have a chance to try to generate a little Spartans offense.
Dixon got Siegel to chase on that one. And that brings up Avery Perkins, who's 0 for 2.
Perkins going to line it. Going to get past short into the gap, but not deep enough for a double. So Perkins gets on with a single with 1 out. That's the winning run. And Galhouse will have an order of trying to bring Perkins home.
A nice hit there by Avery Perkins. And this is what the Spartans were probably hoping for, knowing that they've got the top of the order here with only 1 out. Galhouse, one of the players you certainly want with the bat in a situation like this.
So here's the 0 to Galhouse, taken low for ball 1. So Balmer on deck. And catcher is going to go to talk to Dixon real quick.
Yeah, and before this conference, Mariah Galhouse was looking down at third base at her coach, Leslie Cantor, and Cantor is essentially leaving this one up to Galhouse, and I wondered with the conference if they were going to talk it over after all, and Cantor showing the confidence, just staying put. Galhouse just a quick little chat with Steph Balmer, basically because she's there on deck, and now play resumes.
So here's the 1-0. That's going to be grounded up the middle. It will advance Perkins to second. So now 2 runners on, 1 in scoring position, and Balmer could be a hero here. And what a story that would be, breaking out of a hitting slump to help the Spartans stop their own slump.
Well, and at this point, really, the Spartans want to snap this losing streak, so they'll take it from anybody as much of a great story as it would make, like you said, whether it's Balmer or whether it's Lauren Fantone behind her or some combination thereof. UT, especially here at home, and knowing that there's so many games coming up, just trying to pull out this W any way they can. And again, you talked about the recent series this past weekend and all those 1-run games that all went by way of the visitor, and the Spartans with an opportunity here to come out on the correct side from a home team perspective of a 1-run game. And as you see the conference wrapping up out in the circle, and Lauren Dixon still in there for the Bulldogs, and I'm sure that was just a case of head coach Lynn Anderson wanting to settle her troops down, let everyone take a collective exhale. And now Steph Balmer into the batter's box with only 1 out and runners on first and second. Bottom of the 7th, Spartans knocking on the door.
Definitely trying to hope to calm Dixon's nerves, because the circle is definitely not a place he'd like to be right now. With 2 runners on, any one of them would win the game for the Spartans. Balmer takes ball 1 here. Could Balmer be the player to do it? The 1-0 coming here. That's going to be taken once again. Low riser, high and away. So ball 2 for Balmer. Fantone will be up next. They do have a base free, but with 1 out, it could be a risk to try to fill it. The 2-0 here to Balmer. That's going to be taken for strike 1.
That's an important strike there for Lauren Dixon. If that would have gone to 3-0, you have to wonder, did that conference do her any good? Is she losing her confidence? But good job to battle back.
And it's going to be a pop fly. Brings it to 2 outs now for Fantone. That's a shame for Balmer. But still, a runner on second, which would win the game. Fantone, hope, will be there, trying to make sure the game doesn't go any further than this.
Fantone 0 for 3 in this game, and wouldn't this be the time to erase that 0?
First pitch taken outside for Fantone. That was pitch number 99 of the day for Dixon. Having a big game from the circle. 1-0 now to Fantone. Question is now, will it continue? Fantone is going to ground it to second. The throw to first. It is in time, and the Spartans will strand 2 more. Well, 7 innings have been played, but it looks like we're going to need a little bit longer. We'll be right back in just a minute with the top of the 8th inning. The start of extra innings.
I pledged.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
Top of the 8th at the Namoli Family Stadium. And this would normally be the time where we're getting ready to start game number 2. But no siree, it's still game number 1, and it's been quiet. 0-0. And now, both teams are going to be ready to go for the 8th inning. And now Bursley is going to lead off again for the Bulldogs here. 0-2 so far, hoping to not go 0-3.
Now all of a sudden the Bulldogs are the ones that are anxious, seeing that they got the 9-1 and 2 hitters. So coming into the top of the order,
it's going to miss the bunt, strike 2 here. And those combined hitters are 1 of 8. So obviously they're going to be thinking they're due for something as well.
keep in mind that this is a Minnesota Duluth team that comes into today with a 13-2 one-loss record this season, and a Spartans team that had lost 4 in a row. So you throw all those numbers out the window, because otherwise most people would have expected this game to be over and the visitors to have won it.
That's going to be a pop fly that goes foul. Good job trying to chase it down by Miner, but just 2 out of play. Bursley will stay alive, 1-2.
You mentioned that Lauren Dixon was hitting the 100 pitch count mark, and Mariah Gelhaus only at 80 coming into this at-bat.
So here's the 1-2, swing and a miss. Strike 3 and strikeout number 6 for Gallhouse in 7 1/3. And yeah, it's been a very quick pitched game in the circle for Gallhouse.
Yeah, she's got to be pleased with her work out there, just really needing the run support that Spartans haven't been able to supply her with yet.
And that's been a recurring problem for the Spartan pitchers. And it's funny, for the most part, it's been Miner and Gallhouse providing their own run support, being the two more prolific hitters for the Spartans. The 1-0 here, that's a swing and miss. It looked like it just bounced off the glove of Chevalier. So now it's 1-1. Kiana Bender back up here. It's 1 of 3. That one's going to be taken for strike 2. Gallhouse hoping to get the second out very quickly here in the top of the 8th. That's going to be fouled away. Bender stays alive. So now the 1-2 to Bender. That one's going to have some height, but not too much distance. Keister gets under it and retires the second out of the inning.
Bender really got under that one. I think that from the sound of it, we were all expecting a lot more, and really ended up turning into a routine flyout for Lily Keister out in center field. And so all of a sudden, the Bulldogs find themselves with their number 2 hitter coming to the plate, not so desirable after all, with 2 outs on the board.
And that one's going to be fouled all the way back. We hear it rattle off the visiting dugout. The count now goes to 0-1. Gallhouse a chance to get out of this also cleanly. So far for Frost, she's been 0 of 3, including 1 strikeout, and ooh, strike 2 there, looking with the off-speed breaker. Could see strikeout number 7 for Gallhouse. Frost won't want that to happen. Here's the 0-2. That's going to be grounded to short. Ballmer makes the throw to Emily Jansen, and the side is retired. 1, 2, 3, and now the Spartans are going to be back to try to take the lead and win for the bottom of the 8th. We'll be right back at Tampa Spartans TV.
It's not about any one thing. It's about how everything comes together, how it all connects. People, ideas, resources, community, everything. Quality of life services. That's what we do. Sodexo.
What do you get when you take your favorite food and stuff it inside a pocket of homemade dough? Cooked perfectly until golden brown. It's a mouth-watering empanada from Mr. Empanada. No one makes a better empanada. Take Ted Webb's word for it.
Almost as good as my mom used to make.
Check out our website for a location near you, MrEmpanada.com.
So we are here at the bottom of the 8th. The Spartans still tied with the Bulldogs. Kern Miner is going to lead off. And we see Dixon still in the circle with 100 pitches, although there is a little bit of activity in the Bulldogs bullpen. Dixon's had a solid outing with 1 walk, 6 hits, alongside 5 strikeouts. So Miner now will lead off. Miner's going to line it, and it's going to get past the second baseman, who thought the ball was going a little more to her right. Instead, it veers a bit to her left. She's caught off guard, and Miner gets on base. She's the winning run, and Lexi Chevalier will want to try to bring her home.
3rd single of the day. Corinne Miner is just so consistent, 3 for 4. And now it falls to Lexi Chevalier, who is 0 for 2, also hit into a sacrifice. And Chevalier, knowing that she's got a teammate that represents the winning run at first base with no out, and a big opportunity here. Spartans continue to have problems converting, though, leaving 9 runners on base. And in fact, UT is only hitting 2 for 12 today with runners on base.
The Spartans have hit 241 average so far with 7 of 29 in just general hits. But yeah, when there's runners on base, that falls to a 161 average. And when you put runners into scoring position, it's 0. You haven't gotten a single hit with a runner in scoring position and that will probably need to change if they want to come away with a victory. Chevalier, here's the 0-0. Unsurprisingly, tries for the sacrifice. It fouls away. And we see both infielders very far up for the Bulldogs, as Miner will definitely be tasked to try to get to second on what will probably be another sacrifice attempt in the 0-1. Chevalier gets it down, but it goes foul. So now an 0-2 count to Chevalier. The sacrifice might not be the best play here. It all depends. No one out, runner off first. We'll have to see what happens here. Dixon from the circle. Chevalier squares up with a bunt. The 0-2. That's going to be grounded. Gets to first, the easy out at second. So Chevalier will get on base, but not in the way she was hoping, because Miner is now out at second.
Alexa Russo has one of the Spartans' 7 hits in this game, but coming to the plate, you have to wonder what's it going to take to solve Lauren Dixon, because the 7 hits, just like the Bulldogs' 5, have amounted to nothing in the run column on the scoreboard, and UT has their work cut out for them, what with that lead runner getting thrown out for the inning's first out.
The bullpen is closed as a few of the players warming up are out. Wonder if we'll see a pitching change eventually. But here's the 0-1 to Russo. Line to second. Played back, a double play, and the Bulldogs will strand a Spartan runner. Great reaction there by Schmidt to pull off the double play. Man, we're really playing a baseball game here. We're entering inning number 9. We'll be right back. Top of the 9th. The Bulldogs will try to take a lead. The Spartans will try to stop them.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us and for college sports.
We are back, top of the 9th here. And that's normally the saying you'd use when doing baseball, not softball, but we need the extra inning after both sides were shut down. Tampa was able to get a runner, but after fielder's choice that was able to get an out at second, there was an excellent double play pulled off by Schmidt, and now it brings up the heart of the Bulldogs to open up inning number 9 here.
Yeah, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters, starting with the first base player, Jordan Thomas, and she's 1 for 3 so far in this game. And Mariah Galhouse throwing her 94th pitch there.
And pitch 94 is going to be a swinging strike on Thomas. Galhouse will now lead the count. But a great game from the circle for her no matter what. 8 innings of no-run ball. And I know she's hoping for 9. That one's going to be taken high for ball 1.
And the Bulldogs fans back home in Minnesota yelling at their viewing device saying, well, our pitcher has a shutout going as well. And indeed, Lauren Dixon has had a great afternoon in the circle for the visitors, although she has thrown more pitches and allowed 2 more hits. But give her her due as well, sure.
A classic pitcher's duel, always a fun thing to have on a Tuesday afternoon. It's going to be picked up there by E.J. Jansen, but just goes a little too foul, so can't get the out. We'll go again with a 1-2 count. Thomas was able to get on base last time in the 6th inning, hoping to do so to start out the 9th. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's going to be the strikeout number 7 for Gallhouse. No one's hanging up Ks, but this is at the point where you start to worry, hey, are we going to run out of them? Probably not, though.
Sydney Zavarol, the catcher. She's 0 for 3 in this game.
There's Zavarol going to line it to center. Keister tracks it down, but it's just a nice blooper that gives the Bulldogs a hit. Now a runner on. Runner on first with 1 out. That's a go-ahead run for the Bulldogs. And at the plate is going to be Kelly Swank, who's had a solid game.
Yeah, the re-entry, because we had seen the pinch runner before.
And this time they will actually put in the pinch runner for Thomas. Sorry, Zavarol. It's going to be Meyer back in. Swank now. Yo-oh. Swank grounds to Gallhouse. Played a second with Ballmer. Throw in time at first. And the Spartans respond with a double play of their own to retire the side. The bottom of the 9th coming up. And Jansen will be leading off for the Spartans, followed by Keister and Perkins. Might see a few pinch hitters, though. We'll be right back.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby. Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Burgess. Incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org/opportunity.
Dixon isn't done yet. We've already mentioned that both have had great games so far, and in the circle, so is Dixon. But now, Dixon will get a new challenger. Miranda Perez is in as a pinch hitter to lead off the bottom of the 9th for the Spartans.
She's hitting in place of Emily Jansen, who had been 0 for 3 from the number 7 spot in the order. And Leslie Cantor has to do something to shake it up to try to change UT's fortunes here. And the bottom of the 9th.
Perez going to take that one low and away. Ball 1.
Just goose eggs all over the scoreboard as we're still waiting the game's first run, which turns out will be the winning run.
That's if the Spartans scored. Swing and a miss. That's going to be 1-1. Dixon entering the 9th with 106 pitches from the circle. Having a great game. Hoping it'll continue for her. Here's the 1-1. That one is going to be taken just a little bit too high for ball 2.
Miranda Perez is hitting .222 this season. She's played in just 7 games and is 2 for 9.
Spartans will be hoping to see her go 3 of 10 right here. 2-1. There's going to be a flare out to right and into the bullpen. No one's warming up, so it didn't interrupt any action there. It's now 2-2 count with no outs. Dixon is ready to fire from the circle. That is going to be taken low for ball 3. Perez is able to draw a full count in her pinch hit appearance.
This is a big moment for a young player like her. A 3-2 count, an extra inning situation.
Her getting on base would be huge for the Spartans. A 3-2. It's going to be taken low, and Perez will get on with a walk. So very successful at bat there. And now Lily Keister is ready to go with a runner on. It would be the winning run if it gets home.
And as I mentioned, Leslie Cantor showing some confidence in Miranda Perez, but also, as I say, giving her an opportunity as a young player to come into a pressure situation, and she responds by getting on base regardless of how. And so now the re-entry as Jansen is over to run. But let's not take away from the fact that Miranda Perez did what her coach needed her to do, which was to reach base. And now Jansen goes over to run at first, and we get to see Lily Keister batting now. Keister 0 for 2 in this game.
And so Minnesota Duluth calls time for a second. They're going to talk it over real quick. And yeah, Keister 0 of 2. And wondering if Keister will just drop a sacrifice or will be able to go. Last time Tampa tried a sacrifice in the situation, it ended with the count going to 0-2 and a double play ball ending the inning. That won't happen to end the inning here, but a double play ball would still be heartbreaking for the Spartans.
Keister used that opportunity to go over and get a quick word from her head coach Leslie Cantor, and then sticking her head in was Avery Perkins from the on-deck circle just to take a quick listen as play resumes.
Keister is going to pull it back. And looks like that would be ball 1. 1-0 count here. Keister once again looking to square it down. Waiting on Emily Jansen. Keister will drop it down and can't beat the throw to first, but does the job. Emily Jansen now in scoring position, and it will bring up Avery Perkins, who is 1 of 3. Now each of the next Spartan batters, after Perkins' Gallhouse, have all gotten hits. So that can spell some good news for the Spartans. They're hoping to generate something right here.
Well, and when you're in a ballpark that is not really conducive to a lot of home runs, this is the way that you have to manufacture runs, is to do what the Spartans have been doing here, which is we saw that Miranda Perez came in, got herself on base. They swap her out for Jansen to go back and run for her, but then the play to move up the runner, and so UT just scratching and clawing, trying to get the winning run. Only 1 out in the bottom of the 9th, and you see the conference out in the circle for the Bulldogs as Lauren Dixon is at 114 pitches thrown, and they're still going to continue to leave her in, but at the same time, this is starting to get to be crunch time a little bit with the Spartans have a runner in scoring position. Avery Perkins at the plate, 1 for 3 in this game, and that hit was in her last at-bat back in the bottom of the 7th.
The Spartans will be hoping that Perkins can get a repeat of that hit here. Here is the 0-0 from Dixon. Swing and a miss, so strike 1 right here.
When Miranda Perez was leading off this inning, I'm sure she was told get on base. She did, and then you saw Lily Keister, who likely was told just move her up, and did that.
The 0-1, swing and a miss again, so strike 2. Good stuff there from Dixon. Even though Dixon's already logged 114 pitches from the circle, still looking pretty fresh out there with some good speed. Perkins hoping to not go down in 3.
Have to wonder what the instruction was from Leslie Cantor for Avery Perkins, see if she can get the job done.
Ground ball to second. Perkins gets to first. And Emily Jansen almost gets a little too far from third, but it's a slow grounder that allows her to beat the throw. So now runners in third and first, 1 away. Gallhouse just needs to bring the runner from third home.
Most important there was that she didn't beat the throw. There was no throw. And so the Spartans have to be absolutely thrilled that there's now only 1 out. A runner at third base, it's really not going to get much more optimal for the Spartans given the troubles that they've had with runners in scoring position, with leaving runners on base. And so to not even have a play made, never mind the fact that there's a runner safe at first, it's the fact that there wasn't a second out made, and now they've just got to be absolutely drooling at the fact that Emily Jansen is standing over on third base, and the fact that, it's Mariah Gallhouse who's the hitter, and the Spartans have to be feeling optimistic at this point, but, optimism and reality are 2 very different things. So this is time to put your money where your mouth is and see if Mariah Gallhouse can just get something as simple as a base hit. that will obviously score Emily Jansen.
So now Dixon from the circle going to be firing to Dollhouse. That's going to be one of the toughest at-bats of the night. Squares up for the bunt, and that's going to be an easy stolen base there for Perkins. So that makes the double play a lot less likely, as you'd have to have the unlucky RNG of a line drive that's immediately able to be turned into 2. The 1-0, however, to Galehouse. Galehouse is going to fire that backward. Count goes to 1-1.
Galehouse 1-1 here against Dixon, and has Steph Ballmer in the on-deck circle, and they almost hope that Ballmer doesn't have to bat, because it would mean that the game was over and that the winning run came in somehow.
So that one's going to be taken outside. 2-1 count for Galehouse. And now if you're thinking if you're 1-2, wow, that was called a strike. Oh, never mind. That one was the ball. It was actually a 0-2 count before. That one's going to be taken away for 2-2. A tough pitch here for Galehouse, and from the circle from Dixon. Galehouse is going to get under it. Will it drop? Gets to center. Jansen tagging up to home. Play at the plate. Safe. The Spartans will walk it off. It's a sacrifice line drive to center field, and that RBI by Galehouse will win the Spartans Game 1. It took us 9 innings, but the Spartans finally break the slump. It's going to end what has been a winning streak for the Bulldogs. They take their 3rd loss of the year, but the Spartans stop the 4-game losing skid with a win right here.
This game was so close, as evidenced by being decided by 1 run, that it's fitting that the winning play was so close, because Galehouse, the distance that she hit it to center field, it brought into question, would Jansen get home in time? And you did see the throw was on the mark, but fortunately for Spartans fans, it was just a moment too late, and the home plate umpire rules the play at the plate safe, and so the Spartans able to snap the 4-game losing streak by getting the bottom of the 9th dramatic victory. And as I mentioned, they really had to scratch and claw their way to do it, but they'll take it any way they can get it, and coming away with the W in this first game of the doubleheader.
So Game 2 will be soon, but just taking a look at the pitching matchup, a duel for the ages. Dixon put on 122 pitches from the circle, 5 strikeouts, 8 hits allowed, and only the solo earned run in a loss. But in the circle for the Spartans was Galehouse, 7 strikeouts and 100 pitches in 9 innings with only 6 hits allowed. Almost put on a Maddox, which is a shutout in under 100 pitches. So 1 pitch away from what would have been a Major League Maddox, as well as getting the winning RBI on a sac fly.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've talked before about people like Corinne Minor, people like Mariah Galehouse helping their own cause. And so granted, it was a sacrifice fly, but she helped her own cause and got the winning run across the plate to make herself the winning pitcher.
So, it's been a great game, and we will be back very shortly for Game 2. Action isn't done, even though we already feel like we might have had a day's full of action. We'll have 2 days full of action the next game. Coming up next, the Spartans and Bulldogs will face each other again. Thanks for tuning in to Game 1 on the Sunshine State Conference Network and Tampa Spartans TV.
First, we have UJ Stuff.